Okay, so I'm Lindsay Knight, and I am the head of Australian publishing at Walker Books, and also the publisher.
Great. And how did you get into the industry?
Well, that's an interesting one, sort of. I did a BA dip ed, and I was going to be a high school teacher, and then I was going to be an infant school teacher. But I've always loved books because my mum was an academic in specialising in picture books and teaching. And then I really love teaching one on one, but I wasn't so crazy about classroom teaching. So I was thinking, what the hell can I do with my interest in books and children's books, and if I'm not going to be a teacher? And there weren't sort of publishing courses and everything like that back then. And I said to one of my friends, "So what do you do?" And she said, "Oh, I'm an editor." And I said, "So what's an editor?" I hadn't really ever thought about publishing, to tell you the truth, because it wasn't really, um, I don't know, sort of known as something that you did as a job back then. And anyway, she said, "I'm working for the Macquarie Dictionary." And I said, "Oh, that's nice." And then I said, "I think I could do that." So the next week she rang up and said, "Oh, we're looking for editors." And I said, "Okay, I'll do that." So then I learned all the proofreading signs and everything like that, and started off being an editor. And because I'd done early childhood teaching and stuff, when they started doing dictionaries for little kids,
Mm.
no one else wanted to do them. So I said, "I'll do them." So I started getting into writing my first dictionaries, word books, and then we sort of had a partnership with Scholastic at one point, and a partnership with other educational companies. And then, so I worked for Macquarie for a very long time and loved it, and got into the industry like that.
Wow. And what's your day-to-day working life like at the moment?
Well, my day-to-day working life is great because Walker Books is a relatively small company. I used to be head of children's books at Random House before they merged with Penguin, and that was great. It was very big, and even though Walkers are very, it's got sister companies in the UK and sister companies in the US. We're a much smaller office than Random House used to be. So it's like coming from a very big brother to a tiny little sister. And it's just great because part of my day to day is finding new books, from picture books to young adults, so the whole spectrum, which is wonderful. I love it. I suppose another part of my job is mentoring editors and the designers, because we've actually got in-house designers, which a lot of companies don't have. So it's wonderful being able to look over their computers and seeing all the pictures and everything coming to life. And I suppose then another part of the business is, I suppose, the business side, looking at to see that the list is nicely formed, is going to make money, is so you've got to think of that side. Talking to sales and marketing and publicity about what the plans are going to be. Um, there's a lot of author care involved, or there's always things cropping up that are happening, like there could be a crisis, or that they might want publicity material for something. I guess sometimes the day to day is buying flowers for my colleagues, because we try to have a really nice um, uh, environment, which is very child friendly, because Walker Books only publishes children's books. So we have an office with a lot of murals in it, and many, many books everywhere, and the walls are painted yellow. So it's a very happy environment. So it's a whole mixture of different things.
Mm. So, what would be your advice for someone who wanted to get into the picture book industry?
Into the picture book,
Yeah,
particularly
yeah,
industry.
yeah.
Do you mean as an editor, or as
Uh,
a creator? Or
could you speak to both? To as an author and then as an editor?
oh, okay. Well, um, with picture books, I suppose. So, what are
Mm-hmm.
the parts? So, there are some authors who write a text,
Mm.
and so we might buy um, a text which is beautifully formed. With a picture book, you half of the story is being told at least by the illustration. So you've got to learn with picture books that you less is more, in a way. So if you're you want to write picture books, people think it's really, really easy. But I think read as many as you can and have a look and see how it's going to work. Because remember that you're part of a team. But more and more people are actually then writing and illustrating. I'm finding that a lot of illustrators more and more want to write as well. That sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't. But I'm finding some of the most powerful picture books at the moment are author illustrators, and I find that a lot of times the picture book is like poetry, really, the text, and then you can put a whole lot of, as I said, half of the story is in pictures and with the illustrators, they often work very closely with our design team. So as I was saying today, some illustrators are very experienced and they know exactly how to approach a text. Sometimes a new illustrator needs a lot of help. They might need a lot of help with knowing what sort of medium to use. Are they going to use collage? What are they going to use? Someone asked today, if a publisher looks at my style and accepts me and then is giving me a whole lot of criticism about that style, is that the right thing? I think often a publisher chooses an illustrator for a picture book because of their style, and it's often when they get a surprise when the illustrator doesn't illustrate in that style where some of the problem comes. But because we do try to be very, from the publishing side, very helpful to those people. And from a publishing point of view, we want a story that sings. We want the beautiful. I mean, it's just nothing like a picture book, because you just get everything coming together. It's like an opera in a way, or it's just an extraordinary feat to actually publish the right picture book. And I'm so excited that we've got such great creators in Australia.